Hello and welcome to another episode of the Best You interview series. It's Gary here again, and thank you as always for taking the time to tune in today. And today I'm delighted to be joined by Omar Garcia from the Omzeil Healing Sanctuary, who is here to discuss the power of breathwork and cold therapy, among other things. Omar grew up on the streets of Brooklyn, New York, and what he now knows was a very, very important part of his life path and growth journey. Rough-edged and large-hearted, Omar insists that he is no longer controlled by the things that used to control and own him. Omar firmly believes that he is perfect, as we all are, and it is this embodied understanding of his perfection that has liberated him, and we'll get to talk about that a little bit later on today. Omar affirms that we all pick up some junk throughout our life that isn't useful, but that he himself is testament to the ability of humans to take healing into our own hands and in community and transcend the past. The practices offered at Omzeil's Healing Sanctuary have helped Omar and his team help visitors to the sanctuary, and it is with deep appreciation of his past, full confidence in their offerings, and the fact that they welcome everyone to their loving creative space that makes it such a success as they move forward. The sanctuary assists people with inner alchemy. They meet people where they stand so that they can transform into powerful beings that they already are by combining ancient healing modalities with modern approaches to helping clients achieve balance, vitality, and harmony in their lives. Using a combination of breathwork, cold exposure, energetic movements, and plant medicine, they work with clients to restore harmony within the body, release energetic blockages, and promotes health healing, while also emphasizing the importance of lifestyle modifications, nutrition, exercise, reading, and mindfulness practices to support long-term well-being. Omar firmly believes that healing is a collaborative journey, and he is committed to providing compassionate support, guidance, and encouragement every single step of the way. Some of those words were quite difficult to get out, but I'm glad I got through it. Omar, thank you very, very much. It's such an honour to have you on the show. Oh, my pleasure. Absolutely, my pleasure. So let's start kind of at the beginning, or certainly at possibly what we could call maybe the awakening of your journey here, Omar. And in terms of growing up on the streets of Brooklyn, I alluded to a little bit there as part of your bio in terms of the life lessons that you managed to get there. And obviously it's a very, very important part of your journey. We just talked about that prior to recording. Could you share, was there a pivotal moment during your upbringing, during your experiences living in Brooklyn, that significantly influenced your journey towards healing and towards your wellness practices? Yeah.
Surprising because
Mm.
the level of disrespect and inconsideration for family gatherings, it just made a strong impact on me, and I didn't know that it did. I just thought that was just the way it was, like
Yeah.
families just drank and then they had a fight, and and these type of things, and I kind of emulated them in a way also.
Yeah.
And then when my father left when I was about 9 years old, which he probably checked out emotionally, years before that. But when he left at 9, that's when the teenage years was just right upon me. And the streets were waiting for me right there with open arms, They were telling
Yeah.
me, come on, we're your friends, we're your family. We
Yeah.
love you. We're loyal to you. We'll take care of you and all of that. But that was all lies. but I didn't know it was at the time. I was looking for that thing, the belongingness and stuff.
Yeah.
So ended up getting into lots of trouble, with the law, and you know, eh, at some point I was like a train wreck walking. I didn't know who was driving the train, or when did I
Yeah.
pay my ticket to get on the train, but I wanted to get off, you know. And I was chemically dependent, and there was alcohol naturally too, which I believe is really the gateway drug. Not any other one that they say. I believe it's that one. Um, then I was trying to hold down different jobs, and my relationships were terrible, and it was just a wreck, man. But I wanted to get off, and then I couldn't get off, Gary. I tried, but I just couldn't, no matter what I did. I went to silent retreats, ashram, different belief systems. I went to meetings, gatherings. I wanted to be loyal, and I wanted them to help me so deeply, but nothing stuck, nothing.
Yeah.
Then I met a woman, fell in love, like again, right? And but she came with different style. She was more spiritually in tune, and she was reading lots of books, and she was feeding me books and saying, "Hey, read this." And at first I was like, put it over there, I'll read it later.
Yeah.
But at some point I said, you know what? Let me read, see what's here. And then I was like, whoa, there's a lot to be in here. What else do you have? And then she kept feeding me different books, and then
Yeah.
I just started searching more on the internet. And for my story, what happened to me was that I found this thing on the internet called ayahuasca, and that's what helped me. I went to the jungles of Peru, and I experienced that medicine. If your listeners know about it, it's a powerful psychoactive substance. In
Mm.
fact, they say it's the most powerful on planet Earth, and you get to see things and feel things and let go of things too. So
Yeah.
that's really the whole point of this story, is that I had an opportunity to let go of things there in the jungle that I didn't even know I was carrying. I
Yeah.
didn't even know it was on me until I put it down, and I was like, wow, I'm not gonna treat people like that no more. I'm not gonna buy that or waste over here or speak like that. And it just started a process, changed my food, changed my activities, my physical challenges. I started pushing myself even more. So that was approximately about 10 years ago or so.
Yeah.
And that was just about that moment where there was a strong shift.
Yeah.
There was still work to be done. Like, my wife likes to say that we're like onions, many layers, many,
Yeah.
just keep peeling. You got to just keep peeling it. So
Yeah.
that's what we did. We just kept working with it, and then I just happened to find some other things that helped me out.
Yeah, that's it's such a powerful story. There's so much in there, Omar, in terms of, the upbringing. You don't know any better, so you just everyone gets together. It's fun until it's not, and then you have the invariable. In my upbringing was semi similar to that. Not maybe so much fist fights, but certainly arguments and such.
Hmm.
And you would concentrate your efforts to say, right, make sure the two of them, when they get to this stage of being drunk, that they're not together. And then another two people would surprise you at the other side of the room, and you're like, wait, we weren't talking about you. We thought it was going to be
Right.
them. And just everyone's on high alert.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Exactly.
fascinating. But one of the key things that I got from your story there was that even from a young age, despite the street, if I could say, pulling you in or pulling you down, there seemed to be that innate desire to say there has to be something else. And how many people have we met in our lives that say, I would have done that, but insert whatever excuse you want in here. But it seemed like, the inner Omar was saying there has to be something else, and I'm going to try and find it. And very interesting that it took, some isolation from other people, where you get the opportunity on your own time to look at some books and say, actually, I might be onto something here, and instead of the other modalities that you had chosen at the time. It's so fascinating that you were the one that took the leap, And you probably have friends or family who are still living the previous life where you're kind of saying, I chose a different path.
Yeah, that's a great point because I've thought about this myself, Gary, and I think like, wow, these are my other siblings,
Yeah,
cousins, and like I love them, they love me too,
yeah,
but how, why, just so different, what's the difference? And it was just basically that, like, I know that they want off too. They want to
yeah,
get off that right. They do. But they just seem like that old story. Well, this is just me, and that's just the way I am. See, because I was
yeah,
believing that one for a long time too.
yeah,
But I let
yeah,
I let those things go and I pushed past the little voice. We call it the roommate.
yeah,
We all have that roommate that's in us
yeah,
talking, saying that we think it's us, but it's
yeah.
not us. It's not. No.
Yeah, it's so powerful. Just to mention belief there, I was actually doing some reading, actually some listening, just earlier today, actually just on beliefs and the power of belief in terms of its impact to our entire being. You know,
Mhm.
if we believe something to be a certain way, if we believe something to be true, if we believe our capabilities or our limitations or our personality or our talents or skills or strengths are a certain way, that's the way that they're going to be. And then you'll manifest that and conform your energy towards that. So if you can in some way harness your beliefs, know what they are, understand them,
Mhm.
identify them, label them, figure out if they're helping you or not,
Mhm.
and then you have an opportunity to say, what do I want to do? Do I want to continue on this path? Do I want to create a new belief? Do I want to modify this belief? Do I want to park this belief as well? It's so genuinely, absolutely powerful there. So I emphasised in the bio there, just in terms of perfections, it's such a subjective word, and sometimes people can take it negatively, and sometimes people can use it as an inspiration for positive aspirational change and such. And during the bio, I had said, the embodied understanding of perfection, using that as a liberating force for your life. How do you encourage your clients to discover and embrace their own perfection during their healing journey? Do you see resistance?
Well, what I do want to say is, people who come through to the Omziel Healing Sanctuary, we like to see them more like family. If
Yeah,
anything, they're part of a tribe that they join because it's a deep community that we have
yeah,
here, and everybody wants that. That's what I wanted too when I was in the streets. That we
yeah,
all want to connect because humans, we're pack animals.
yeah,
We're animals, right? People don't believe
yeah.
that, but we are. We're just animals with nice, clothing and jewelry on, but
Yeah,
we're animals. We eat with forks, but still, in fact, we're probably the worst animals on the planet. But in any case, what we usually tell people is that when you look outside into the forest and you see a deer, right? Most people look at it and they go, "That's beautiful. Wow, God made that. That's
yeah,
perfect." Right? But then when we come to us, we go, "Oh, well, I'm not perfect and nobody else is too." See? So we tell them, like, you are perfect too. God made you just like the deer and the antelope and the bear
yeah,
and the giraffe. We are divine beings too. In fact, if
yeah,
we are, ambassadors of the planet, we should carry ourselves as royalty like that, right? God, according to the story, blew breath in our lungs, right? So that's why
yeah,
we have animation. So that's what we usually tell people. You're perfect also. So this thing about only that person that's divine is perfect. No, we're perfect too. We're perfectly imperfect. You
yeah,
see? We're born perfect and we pass on perfect too. It's just in between. We do pick up garbage. We do. We do. But
yeah,
it's really up to us, to let that go.
yeah. And does that become a barrier, or do you find that people embrace that when you kind of present it in that way? Do people kind of start to you see those moments of the light bulbs going off where they're kind of thinking, yeah,
Mm.
actually, yes,
Sometimes we do. Like we get that
yeah,
person that had never heard it like that before, and they go, "Wow!" Because it's that ingrained indoctrination,
yeah,
right? Especially with some belief systems, right? You
yeah,
come into this world and you're already a wrongdoer. Yeah,
yeah,
you're
yeah,
no good. You're blemished and like you're far from God, and like, and for us, after studying quite a bit of things and listening to some of the masters, you get to learn that, hey, no, wait a minute, we're divine, we're perfect, and we're more powerful and capable than we even know it. We just have
yeah,
to realize those things. You spoke
yeah,
about, the mindset of people, and that's what we work with. We try to dive deep into that, and there's a new word that has come out into the language that is quite popular now, and it's epigenetics, right?
right,
Because for a long time, people thought, well, that's just the way you are, and you're gonna pass on just like that. That's just you. And
yeah,
then they're learning now that that's not true. But that's something that ancient people were talking about before. But
yeah,
now they're catching up, and they put these fancy words on it, you
yeah,
know. But the fact is that we can change ourselves. We don't have to continue being like that. No, it's our decision.
yeah,
Someone listening might say, "Yeah, but I'm addicted to this, and that person's in my life. Like, I can't get them out, or I can't leave that job." And none of that's true.
yeah,
We can do it. Is it gonna hurt? Yes, it's gonna hurt. Is it gonna be a struggle? Of course, it's gonna be a struggle. But it
yeah,
seems like whoever made this realm where we're in placed the best things in life, like right behind those things.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, just beyond the barriers for sure. So, in terms of the ancient healing modalities and the modern approaches, how I specifically mentioned in the bio, breath work and cold therapy, because those are things that would be, I imagine, readily understandable, easily accessible for people. If you're not breathing, then you're likely not listening to
Right.
this. Anyway, and the ability for both breath work and cold therapy to complement each other. I'll tell you a quick anecdotal story. It's it's the winter here right now as we're recording. In Canada, it's very, very cold this week where I am. And I have my bath, which I use as my ice bath, and the mains water that comes through is absolutely freezing. It's painful. It's painfully cold. And after my workout today, I sat in the bath as I do, and I do it for 3 minutes. You can tell me in a wee second whether that's too long or not enough. And I sat there and I paid so much attention, Omar, at the very beginning to how long it would take me to control my breath to get to the point where I'm just being in the water, feeling like literally feeling my limbs, be immersed in this cold experience. And because it was so cold, it took me probably the best part of about 30, 45 seconds to kind of get to a spot where that's fine. I can move now, everything's okay. And I haven't paid that much attention to both sensations at the same time, the breathing and the icing, and it probably depends how much time I have and how clogged up my brain is. But I'm very, very interested in both of those topics. So like, how and where does the breath work and the cold therapy specifically complement each other? And how did it contribute to achieving balance and harmony for people?
Well, I can speak for myself, and an interesting story that I have too is that once I got cleared from all that other stuff
Yeah,
that was on me, and I was on this journey like of wellness and mindset, I had a dream, and the dream consisted of a man who has helped to make this healing modality popular. But I wasn't going around like looking at him or learning about that healing modality at all. It was nothing. It was just one of the many things that I was learning about. That was it.
yeah,
And I had this dream where I was with him, and we were with another handful of men, 5, 6 men, and we were running in the wilderness, and we got into the riverbed, and I could clearly see the snow and the ice in the background, and we got up into our necks, and we had like a nice little knitted hat on, and I was looking around, and we were looking at each other like we were feeling each other like, yeah, yeah, and then we got up out the water, and again we started running in the wilderness, and I saw people looking at us as we passed them, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. So I woke up, and I was like, wow, that was a crazy dream. And I spoke to my wife about it, and it was like,
yeah,
I don't know. And then fast forward like 8 or 9 months later, I started getting this email saying that they were teaching that healing modality right by in another city next to us. So I hesitated at first, but then I ended up buying my ticket. I went, and then I learned, and I connected with one of the head facilitators there. He took me under his wing, and we were starting this Omziel healing sanctuary here. And I said, can you come and you can show us, people who come over? Sure. So he came, a dozen times or so, and he just taught me all of that about the breath. So we continue with that. And the man who had made the breath work in the ice popular, I usually don't mention him because he doesn't mention me on his podcast. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, yeah, he's doing fine. So we kept doing it, and learning more about it, and then I started taking notes and practicing, and then people started coming over, and before you know it, like that's our staple is to do that, right?
Yeah.
So the breath work, we like to think of it like the engine. Remember the old cars? You had to warm it up and boom, boom, and give it gas and let it get hot first, and then go. It's kind of like that. We take these power breaths. There's different types of breathing we do, but the main one is the power breaths, where we're bringing in lots of oxygen and we're blowing off all the carbon. You see, and what that does is it oxygenizes the cells in your body. It has you like buzzing, like you're ready when you come out. We do like a couple of rounds of that with some air retention, right? With the air out, we hold it, and then we breathe in, and then we hold that one too. About 30 seconds to like a minute and a half. But as you go along, you start holding it even more because the body adjusts. It's like free diving without a tank. People free dive like half hour without air. Why? Because the body adjusts. They're practicing in the pool.
Yeah.
So that's the beginning part of it, the breath work, and there's tons of benefits there. It calms the monkey mind because this part right here. You said about getting in the water, right? And you think about the breath and how long I've been here and like, oh, my body and it hurts. And like, it's this part of our brain. It's basically a new part. It's a walnut shape size right here. Deeper parts are the reptilian brain, but the frontal lobe right here is the one that helps us navigate this realm. Like you picked that shirt today and your shoes and like, and you got in the car and like, that's what this one is, but it's the one that helps us too, right? Don't swim in water with sharks, don't touch the electricity, right? But then it's kind of like on overdrive also, Gary, then it's like, oh, don't write that book. Don't start that podcast. Don't start the business. Oh, what if you fail? Don't buy the house. Don't start the relationship, right? You see, it's just that part. So how do we quiet it? You can meditate, but then you start to notice that it's really loud, But when you do the breath work, it calms the frontal lobe down. It quiets it a bit, and it keeps it calm. You see? So when you get into that ice, you're more centered. It's that inner compass that all animals have. North, south, east, west, we have it inside of us,
Yeah.
So that's what it calms you, and then you're able to approach the water, better.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so powerful. And having done a little bit of breath work, not a lot, it's so quick. The benefits that you can gain from it are so quick in terms of centering, in terms of decluttering, in terms of being present and just feeling, the sensation and who and where you are at that given point in time. So I imagine doing it at a more advanced level, it can only be exponentially better.
For sure. And, that's one of the huge benefits of it too. We don't know how much stress we're carrying, and how much tension until we just slow down and then do these breaths with the air retention. I just had a group here on Saturday and we did the breath work. We did a few rounds. And then after we were done, I kind of like wait a little bit. I said, let me see if they'll come out. Because normally people just get up naturally, but they were not moving. They were so relaxed. And then we do a bit of integration afterwards where everyone goes around the room and starts to talk. Each person was like, oh my God, that was so helpful. And they came up with this whole thing about what's been going on. And like, they didn't know that it was like on them so hard and that they felt so beautifully relaxed and comfortable and at peace and safe and all that.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. So I did mention again earlier the lifestyle modifications that accompany the deep topic work that you're doing. you know, can you elaborate a bit on that in terms of the healing sanctuary and what types and styles of support that looks like, and maybe some pitfalls that you see people kind of going into after the euphoric experiences that they might experience when they're with you?
Of course, the breath alone, like you said, it's euphoric. It's also activating the dimethyltryptamine in your body, right?
Right.
Humans produce it naturally, and
Yeah.
often people start to see shapes, colors, purple. The disco ball, like they come out with all these stories, like, wow, I see
Yeah.
this great, and then sometimes it pulls them into like other stories where we had someone say, I was in fifth grade with Miss McGillicuddy. I couldn't believe it. And I was there, and that thing that she told me. And then they start to make those connections and say,
Yeah.
that's one of the things that's holding me back. I couldn't believe it. So
Yeah.
it's helpful, super helpful in that way. And I did want to tell you more about the water, but before I do, you said a very interesting thing about what would help people and from the pitfalls, right?
Mhm.
One of
Yeah.
the things that we preach here heavy, Gary, is a calendar, right? We tell
Right.
people to go out and find a desk calendar, right?
Mhm.
And take off a month or two and put it on your closet wall, not inside, because inside
Yeah.
is out of sight, out of mind. Put it on the outside,
Yeah.
tape it up, and then get yourself some colored markers, different colors, and
Yeah.
start tracking everything that you do. I mean, as much as you
Yes.
can, some major events, right? This helps because think of like New Year's resolutions. People usually start hot and heavy. By the end of January, February, it's gone. Why?
Yeah.
They don't have a system. You need a
Yeah.
system in place. So the calendar is one of them. You track your food, you track your workouts, your cold plunge or your breath work or whatever it is, or
Mhm.
something you're looking forward to. Put it there so you can see it every day. That way, when you look back of the weeks that passed, you'll see, man, I ate that whole gallon of ice cream on last Sunday. I'm not going to do it this Sunday. I could see that, you see?
Yeah.
Because if you don't see it, it's just, you're just going with flow in
Yeah.
your life. It's kind of like being in the boat without a rudder, sail, and without a map. You don't even know where you're
Yes.
going, right? So that's where that helps. Um, and we also say that calendar shouldn't be an online one because some people go, I got one on my phone. Again,
Yeah.
it's out of sight. It's not there every day.
Yeah.
Put it by your mirror. We go
Yeah.
to the mirror every day, twice a day at least in the morning and at
Yeah.
night. It will be right there, you know. So that's one of the things that we suggest. In addition to that, reading books, there is a folder that we share with people, have audio books and PDF. You have to read. You have
Yeah.
to take it. You have to. You know, it's like trying to invent the wheel. You don't have to invent the wheel. There's a
Yeah.
book on it already, and the
Yeah.
book tells you how to use the wheel too.
Yeah.
You see, so you don't even have to invent nothing. It's
Yeah.
there. The people went through it already. They mastered things. Follow
Yeah.
them. Try it. Bring your own style to it. Yes, but be committed. Be determined. Like no matter what. Sure, we fall and we slip, Gary. Of course, I do too. I
Yeah.
got young kids. I go out and then I'm there having nacho chips. I eat the whole bowl and like or I miss a run or a workout. It's but I track it. You see,
Yeah.
then I look back and I can see, wow, I'm doing great, or I'm not doing so great. You
Yeah.
know, well, hold on, I need to step it up. So those
Yeah.
things right there would be like one of the first things that you know we
Yeah.
suggest. Yeah.
And just that commitment, that overall commitment to yourself. And then, one of the key things I think that probably detracts people from long-term tracking anyway is they're, they kind of don't want to see the patterns, because in their head, they've already made up a story that this is going to paint me in a bad light. This is not going to be what I hope it's going to be. And therefore, I'd rather not know. I'll track it on my phone. I'll put it on the inside of the cupboard. I'll put it
Mhm,
somewhere nondescript in the house that no one can see it.
mhm,
And it's trying to get them to say, just try it.
mhm,
You'll be
mhm,
surprised.
mhm,
You're like, if I could say, you're not as as dysfunctional as you think you are. This is progress that you're making. Any positive step that you make that you can color code and put there as a moment to be celebrated. You're investing in you, and build on that and build on that. And yes, we'll have a cheat day, and yes, we'll have an off day, and it might be 2 days or 3 days, but then you know that. Get back on the wagon, do what you need to do, and then build it back up again. And it's so powerful, as you say, that the physicality of seeing it almost real time, as you're updating it,
Sure.
as you go forward.
Gary, it's that accountability. Like at the end of the
Yes.
day, you're accountable to yourself. Doesn't matter
Yeah.
who tells you, your boss, your wife, your kids. No, it's you. This
Yeah.
journey is you. You're experiencing everything here. And I
Yeah.
also mentioned those colored markers, right? Because they should
Yeah.
be different colors. Because scientists know that if it was all one color, like just black marker, it blends in the background, and you end up not seeing anything really.
Yeah.
Yeah, so colors are important.
Yeah, absolutely. So figuring out something that works for you in terms of color schemes, what's going to be popping out, what's going to be, something noticeable, or, and as your pattern develops, that you can then say, I can't wait to see more pink on that and more blue on that, and, whatever else that is. Yeah, of course. So you mentioned earlier you were going to go back to the effects of the water and the coldness.
Exactly. So I was just thinking about that when you mentioned that, because once you start, putting yourself accountable for these things and tracking with your tracking system, you get to see like, hey, I cold plunged for a minute or so, or 2 minutes, or I went somewhere and I did it. You can go, there's many places and very affordable too, or you could do it at your home. You can get one, which community usually works better. Because I noticed that people come here and they go, hey, you know what? I bought myself a tub. I said, that's great, man. You're doing it. Go ahead. And then I see them like 3 months later and they go, I used it the one time and I don't use it. But I come here. I know it's the community,
Yeah.
But the water itself, it's quite a shock to your system, right?
Yeah.
It can be like a reboot, you see? Like it just internally reboots your whole system. It's pure alchemy. That's really what it is, man. Like you could read a book, you could meditate, and you could fast too. With some of those things create healthy growth hormones, right? But when you go into cold shock therapy, it's actually a faster way. And then there's tons of other benefits on it too. But the point I want to bring up is that people look at me and they go, oh, you do the ice all the time. You should be good. No, every time my mind, somehow it's messing with me. Why are you doing it? What are you doing it for? You don't got to be there for a minute. Nobody's looking. Nobody's here. You could put it on the social media, say you did 3 minutes and you did it. I'm like, will you shut up? I got this. And you have to push past that little voice, man. Sometimes it's louder, other times. Sometimes it's pretty low and you're like, man, I see you. You're obvious. I know you. I hello, And then there's other times where it's just so convincing. You're like, yeah, maybe it is true. I do have to go to the store and buy. You start talking yourself out of it, But it's just the point where you're pushing yourself, man, And for me, Gary, I'm just at that point where when I start hearing that little voice inside saying, don't do it. It's too cold. That's the time that I know that I have to do it.
Yes.
I just went to an ice plunge. We facilitated one at a CrossFit gym called the Strength Center in Gutenberg. It's a town right over near us, and I lead the breath in the ice there, and it was freezing. It was freezing cold, and there was some people that were brave and they got into the water with the ice and they did it, and they said, "Oh, it's not that bad," like I thought. I know it's the frontal lobe, And then after everybody was done, the gym was closing, everybody left, now it's me, like I didn't do it, And then I should just go, I got things to do, grocery list and the kids. I'm like, no, I started taking off my shoes right there, took off my shirt, everything. That's it. Got into it. Oh, freezing. Oh, ooh, hold on, get the breath going, 2 minutes. I got my stopwatch like that. You mentioned earlier that you were in the ice. Did you say 3 seconds or 3 minutes?
3 minutes.
Yeah. So, according to what we've studied and learned somewhere between 2 and 3 minutes. That's good. There's some guys that go, I was there for 20 minutes, an hour.
Yeah.
Science already shows you don't have to. It's the
Yeah.
consistency. You should be doing it a few
Yes.
times a week, and then the shower's
Yeah.
good. Some
Yeah.
people say, oh, I don't like the cold. I don't like it. It hurts me. Yeah, I know. Me too. Like, my parents are from
Yeah.
the island of Puerto Rico. It's a tropical island. And I
Yeah.
was born in July 31st, like in the middle of summer. Like, I love hot. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too.
But the benefits of the cold. So
Yeah.
what I would say is that start your shower warm, but end it cold. Just
Yeah.
before you get out, just blast it and just take it as much as you can. 1001, 1002, 1003. Turn it off. That's it. It's your
Yeah.
body acclimated to that temperature. You'll see
Yeah.
the benefits. Oof, it's great. Tons of benefits.
I agree. It's been it's been probably about 6 months I've been doing it consistently, and by consistently, probably at least 4 times a week. Recently it's been 7 days a week, and I coincide it with my workout, and then it's just part of the routine.
That's
And
it.
to your point earlier, I was smiling when you said, even today, as a well-seasoned practitioner, you sit there and that voice in your head is like, hey, let's go do something else, anything else other than this thing right now. And that's the motivator to say, thanks for your input. I really do appreciate it, but this is good for me. And it feels great. It really does, and it's difficult. And in the summertime, I have it in my garage because it's cold enough there and it's easy enough to use it with a hose to get it updated and then just update it with ice. And in the winter time, it's just too cold to do it there. So it's the actual literal bath that I have in my bathroom. And then what I do, my routine is I then go from there to the shower and then jump in the shower straight away. And most of the time, Omar, the shower at its coldest is an upgrade from the bath.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, oh, this is better. This is much better.
Isn't it crazy? It's crazy.
It really is.
That happens to me too. We find often that we go all year round and we're outside and the water's freezing and the wind is whipping and it's like it's freezing. It's not cold, it's freezing. But we're doing it. We're committed. We get into the water 2 minutes and it's weird because we say the ice water is like a little bit warmer than it is outside. That's like crazy. And then when you get out and you're outside, you're like, it's not even cold out here. It's just crazy.
It's absolutely fascinating. Completely fascinating.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I'd love to see some of your videos, man, or something. Maybe you're on the social media of you in the cold and how you're handling that.
I don't do anything like that. I don't put that stuff on social media. It's just my kind of wellness routine, and over time I have felt the benefits of it. Do you know one of the main things that I get from, apart from the physical benefits of it, is genuinely like a feeling of accomplishment. A feeling of I'm doing something, one, that I never thought I would do, two, that I'm actually starting to feel and reap the benefits of, and three, that not many people are doing this and investing in themselves enough to get the physical benefits, afterwards, in terms of healing and quicker recovery from strenuous activities and such, but also just those moments when I'm sitting there and I'm just, sometimes I listen to, like, I've got a podcast on and I'll maybe just be consuming that. But most of the time I'm in silence and it's just that moment to just breathe. And as I said earlier, like, just to move my extremities ever so and say, oh, that feels weird. That feels different. That's odd. That's connected to that. And it's that accomplished feeling afterwards. And don't get me wrong, there's some days, as soon as that alarm goes off, I am up like a shot and I am out. And other days I'm kind of like, I'll take my time here and I'll just come out of it. But that feeling, so like, there's mental benefits from it, as well as the obvious physical benefits that I've enjoyed too.
The endorphins that you receive, like the dopamine rush. Scientists, see, because I've done quite a bit of study here. Scientists already know that, the dopamine rush that you get is the equivalent of snorting a line of cocaine.
Oh, wow.
And cheaper too, by the way.
less
I
harmful
wouldn't
as
know. I
well.
wouldn't know about that. I wouldn't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So why wouldn't you introduce yourself to it? Give it a
Yeah.
try, man. Yeah, of course
Yeah.
it's difficult. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard. It sucks too. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'd love for you to see some of the videos that I made because we're showing people that hey, you could do this too, right? So
Yeah.
that's why we're on the social like that.
Yeah.
So it's part of my routine. And I set up the tripod and we're outside. I have a 150-gallon um uh, uh uh, I forgot the name of these tanks. It escapes me for the moment, but it's a feeding tank, one of those tanks you would find on a farm. They're
Right.
hard plastic, right?
Yeah.
So it's 150 gallons. Fill it up third of a way, then I dump all the ice in it, and then
Yeah.
I record myself. And sometimes I tell people, hey, you know what I'm feeling, and you could do this and stuff. But
Yeah.
now it's been freezing. Just lately, I mean, the hottest that it's gotten was like about 19 or 20 degrees. So the
Yeah.
water was frozen. So there I am with the tripod outside, wind is whipping with the sledgehammer, and I'm banging at it like that, ripping up the ice and opening it and all, and then getting inside. And oh my God, the feedback that I get is like, oh my God, I want to do that. Like, oh,
Yeah.
you're so brave. And I'm like, hey, I'm no more brave than you. You
Yeah.
can do it too. And it takes time, to get to certain levels, sure.
Yeah.
But, consistency is key.
Yeah.
It's like the compound interest. That's what banks know
Absolutely.
that we don't know, right? Is that they're collecting interest from you. It's not a lot.
Yeah.
You would think, they're only getting, 3%, 6%. So it's not a lot. It is in 10 years, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the compounding benefits, absolutely. And as you say, it's so easy to do. Can you breathe? Yes, I can. I know that because you're alive and you're talking to me. Can you step? Yes, I can. Can you sit? Yep. Can you sit in water? Yes, I can. So let's go.
Right, right.
Let's
That's right.
do it.
That's right.
It's
Of
so
course.
it's not this elaborate skill that you need to learn. It's more
Mhm.
logistics, bravery,
Yeah.
willingness to do it, and to sit literally and figuratively with it at the same time.
That is the beauty of it. Like, we're not selling sneakers or belts,
Yeah,
something that, you buy and you receive a bit of pleasure, like for a little while, then you put in your closet. Like, this is
yeah,
an experience, something that you
yes,
carry with you, right?
yeah,
So here are groups of people, they're anywhere between 4 and 5 people, and we've had up to like 20 people here. I mean, all breathing, there's bodies all over the floor, and I'm leading them in breath, and then everybody's like standing around the tub and getting in one at a time, and I'm coaching them through it 2 minutes,
yeah,
and we often tell them, now come Monday morning, and when they come with that BS, you'd be like, what, man, get out of here with that. You're
yeah,
obvious. I see you. You don't bother me. What?
yeah,
That was supposed to bother me because I was just in a tub of ice on Sunday.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
It's
It's so
super
powerful.
powerful. It's powerful.
Yeah,
The sense of accomplishment, all of that. And then one of the other keys I love to mention also is that it pulls you into the present moment. So if you
yes,
notice when you're in the cold, you're not really thinking like, oh, did I turn off the stove? Did I feed the cat? Or,
yeah,
oh, I gotta buy coffee, bread, juice. No, it's about right here, right now. Stay with the
yeah,
breath, and you spoke about the first 30 or 35 minutes. I was so happy when you said that because
yeah,
we noticed also that if people can make the 30 seconds or
yeah,
35, they'll make the 2 minutes. But it's
yeah,
that initial part. It's right
yeah,
there, the frontal lobe telling you, "Oh, get out! It hurts!"
yeah,
Yeah, but then you say, "No, I got it. I'm here," and stay with the breath. You start just
yeah,
paying attention to the breath coming in and out.
yeah,
And in addition to that, it also activates the reticular activating system. It's located in the back of your skull. That's the
mhm,
one where you buy a car and you go, "Oh, I love that car. Never seen that car before, man. It's beautiful." Then you're down the road, you're like, "Everybody's got my car. I'm driving around. I see it." Right? You see? That's
yeah,
what that is. So in
yeah,
the ice, it activates that. So when you come Monday morning, Tuesday, Wednesday, you start seeing things in your life that you've never seen before.
yeah,
You start that business. You
yeah,
start that newsletter or whatever it is that you're looking forward to do in your life. It was always there. It was always there. It's all there, but we just didn't notice it before.
Yeah.
We're just too busy. We're distracted. Phones, laptop. Now you drive in the highway, right? Now they got TVs on the billboard. Oh my goodness. And then you go to the restaurant. What restaurant doesn't have a television in it? Like, when did that happen? I'm eating food. I don't want to hear about murders and car crashes. But it's that code, the reticular activating system. Boom. All right. Now I know my mission. Now I know my plan. I am going to do that. I'm not going to eat that. I'm going to, watch my food. I'm going to, journal. That's another big one too, by the way, Gary. Yeah, journaling. So I try to journal every day, but I think it's important for everyone. Some people go, I used to journal, now I don't do it. Why? Just take a moment and write, even if it's like twice a week or 3 times. Maybe it's not every day, because I skip days too, sometimes weeks, but go back to it. Write it down. It's so powerful as humans. There's power in words, right? The beginning was the word. Right? Yeah, it's powerful.
Absolutely, and it gives you. I think I mentioned earlier, like, in terms of information about patterns. You start, if you go back on your journal and you start to say, I said I was going to do that, and I said I was going to do that, and I said I was going to do that, and I didn't do any of those things. I wonder why that is. You have access to information you didn't have before, and you have that ability to do something about it. To say, I'm going to take that off my list because I actually have no intention of doing that. It just sounds good. And I'm going to start to get a bit more real, a bit more honest with myself. These are the things that I actually want to do. This is what I actually want to spend my time doing. This is what I want to do in terms of my gift of service or value, impact, or such. So I completely agree about the journal.
I also think about my journal that I'm writing. Someone may find that book 10,000 years from now.
Yeah.
And it'll help them, you see?
Yeah.
We don't think like that, but we should, because we don't know. We don't know what will happen. And they discover, like, wow, look, this guy, he struggled through that. And he did it. He overcame it. And this is what helped him. A, B, C, D. Let's try those things,
Yeah.
And then if you have kids, like that's a no-brainer too. Right?
Yeah.
Your kids, one day they'll be like, man, I want to know more about my dad, man. I'm going through some things. I'm struggling, Wow, he got these journals. There's 50 of them, or I don't know, one or two. Like, let me see. Wow, he went through the same thing I went through too. I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna make it too.
Yeah, exactly.
And he tried this. He was in the call. I'm gonna try it too.
Yeah, definitely inspirational. So, as you know, this is the best you, and it's inspiring. Hopefully, the listeners to give themselves an opportunity to experience growth as they go through life. What is one regular practice that you employ that gives Omar the best opportunity to be the best version of himself?
You're only made up of your habits.
Yes.
So you have to think about, what are your habits. You might think like, well, I don't know, I don't have any. I used to I drink occasionally. I don't have. We're not talking about that. We're talking about when you wake up and you rise in the morning. What happens when you get out of bed? What do? You see, what do I do when I get out of bed? I drink 16 ounces of room temperature water, not cold, just room temperature water, and I put Celtic sea salt, a little bit, a few grains under my tongue and on my top, and I put some, like the tip of the teaspoon, into the water of salt, and I put lemon. It's a super electric water that I have there. I pray to my water, by the way, too. These are just habits that I have, because water retains memory. If you know anything about water, look it up. Water is powerful. We're made up mostly of water.
Yeah.
So that's what I do. I drink my water, you see. And then there's other things that, of course, I brush my teeth and shower, and but I'm also taking other things too, like sea moss, if you know what that is. Irish sea moss. It's a seaweed, and you harvest it off of the coast of Jamaica, somewhere pristine. It's good for your gut health. It has 92 of the 102 minerals that your body needs. It's a superfood.
Yeah.
It's for good gut health, because our gut is like our second brain. It even looks like the brain too. Then I may step into some yoga, right? Yoga is like a 3,000 or 5,000 year old practice. anything that's been around that long, Gary, we should pay attention to it.
Agreed.
So
Yeah.
I try to get in some yoga, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe more if I'm feeling hot and sexy, but usually, I just try to get some, because I have other things to do, in
Yeah.
the day. I get that in too, right? Just when I finish my yoga, then I do my breath work, 15 minutes, power breaths with air retention. I do about 3 rounds of that. And then meditate. I try to get in some time on the meditation, not hours, and like 5 minutes,
Yeah.
like 10 minutes, like that. And for people who don't meditate and they go, try it. Try it. You'll
Yes.
see that later in the day, your day will be better. You'll feel the shift. Like, wow, I feel good. Why? Oh, it was the meditation that I did.
Mhm.
So that's the one thing that I would say. We are made up of our habits. You have to
Yes.
start acquiring strong habits. Even if you skip them someday, that's fine. But just be consistent.
Yeah.
Get up in the morning. Make your bed. I forgot to mention that one. As soon as I get out
Yes.
of bed, I make my bed. That's the
Yeah.
first task. I've completed it. Pull the
Yeah.
sheets, fold it, pillows, fluff it. Then I leave the room like that.
100%. 100%. Before I let you go, Omar, how and where can people find out more about you and the Healing Sanctuary?
We are the Omziel Healing Sanctuary, and if the name sounds unique, it's because it is. You might find some variations of it, but it's really made up of my name, Omar, and my wife's name is Aziel. So we
Yeah.
just have Omziel together, you see?
Yeah.
So we're OMZIEL. So that's Omziel Healing Sanctuary.com. That's our website. We have the YouTube channel, which is Omziel Sanctuary. And then we have the Facebook, Omziel Jersey or Omziel Healing Sanctuary. We have the business page. And we have a podcast too, which I'd love for you to be on, Gary, actually.
Fabulous. Yeah, I
It's
love
called
that.
it's called the Art of Rising. You see?
Yeah.
We're teaching people like, let's go.
Yeah.
Rise. So you can find
Yeah.
us there. We're on the social also. Instagram, we're quite active, Omziel Healing.
Yeah.
In the Facebook, you might find us on Twitter or LinkedIn as well.
Yeah.
That's where, and if you're ever in the New York tri-state area, we're like 30 minutes out of New York City. We're that close to
Right.
the action, yeah, but not too close.
Perfect.
And we have a
Yeah.
sanctuary here, and with open arms, man, just come through. We love to host anyone coming through.
Fabulous. This has been an absolute delight, Omar. Thanks a million for your time today, my friend.
Thank you for the opportunity.